are live. I hope that everybody's doing well. If you can hear me okay, please put a 1 in the chat. It's been a minute since I've been live. Give me 1 second, make sure my settings are good. Let's see here. Audio, perfect. All right, happy Sunday. For those that are new to the channel, welcome. I am Chris with Monsters Under Our Bed. We cover murder, mystery, to the missing. And today we're going to be covering the Kansas City group of 3 men that sadly were found frozen to death. If you haven't heard the story, we're going to go through all the details and all the everything that I could find for this story. It's a wild story if you haven't heard it. A very tragic case. And they're kind of waiting on some results, but we'll definitely dive into that. Just check in my chat, make sure everything's good. Let me adjust this mic a little bit here. I'm gonna get an app or program here that's gonna boost my volume. So hopefully next time, because I had to get really close to this mic. My other mic was much more sensitive, so I could kind of be further away. So I have to always kind of remember to be really close to the mic. So hopefully you can hear me good. Before we get started, quickly, I'm going to mention the missing because we always like to do that at the beginning. And then I'll quickly update you on my foot because, yes, I had some, have to do some physical therapy, but we'll get into that in a minute. So today's missing is Ella Jones. She was last seen on January 5th of this year. So she's been missing for about 3 weeks. This is out of Mount Vernon, Washington. Just 14 years old. They believe she was talking with an online predator. It was actually confirmed, and believes that she ran off with this guy and could be trafficked, which is very sad. So she is Ella Jones, 5'5", 125 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. Says distinct facial dimples. So I'm just reading the notes here. So anyway, if you want any more information, you go to hashtag find Ella Jones. If you have any tips, you can call 360-428-3211. All right. And yeah, just a quick update for those that may not know. I apologize. I've missed a couple live shows. For almost a month, I've had some weird issues going on with my feet. No, kind of more on my left foot. And anyway, a couple of days ago, I went to the ER and found out that I've got some kind of neuropathy going on down there. And so it's the first time I've ever experienced kind of nerve pain. So anyway, they give me kind of some exercises and some tips to work on. But yeah, the biggest thing is when I sit down, especially in the seat, is when it acts up, and it gets so aggravating because it's just starting to like burn. My foot starts to feel like it's on fire, and it's just so tough. Geneva, good to see you. All right, if you could email me, we want to get a hold of you, Geneva. We're trying to see if we can. Let me know if you can chat. Actually, it might have fixed itself. Quickly, sorry guys. But yeah, if you can email me, Geneva, we want to get a hold of you because we're not sure if Nightbot updated and not allow you to use your all caps. But if you can't, we'll try to fix that for you. Anyway, but yeah, so they gave me gabapentin, which my doctor calls moronpentin or something like that. It was kind of funny. Anyway, it does help. The exercises and everything have been helping. I've got like this little ball, and I'm actually rolling it on my feet right now, just for the exercises to get the circulation, whatever, going. But yeah, it was really. Oh, you did email me. Okay, yeah, I'm a little behind on my emails because, like I said, I missed so many days. I've been laying down, just off my feet because it was like so bad. My feet were swollen up. But yes, I feel like so much better than I had in the last literally like 3 weeks, because it was so bad. Yeah, I'm sure. I know a lot of people have had neuropathy And yeah, this is my first time experiencing it, and it sucks. So anyway, but yes, I'm doing better. And I'll touch on Dylan rounds. I'm going to do something for my Patreons with Dylan rounds and kind of go through the story again, but add a few things that haven't been announced anyway. But as far as updates, really nothing. I think they're still waiting on Brenner. And as far as Dylan Rounds, I think they have a really good idea of where he's at. The problem is the place he's at. It's just big. Just they're trying to find him in like a mini Grand Canyon. They know where he's at, but he's in. It's possible he's in like the wash. And anyway, so they're trying to get like special drones that can kind of see through the dirt a little bit, especially because if he had his clothing on, they could pick out the certain colors. And so anyway, that was kind of an update on Dylan Rounds because people always ask me that. But I am going to be doing a video for Patreons and then my members for that as well. And then eventually I will do a Dylan Rounds for everybody else. All right, let's get going. So, let me grab this real quick. Sensei, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Oops. Hey, Chris, I'm here for the foot update. Yeah, doing better. Like I said, I just stayed off my. I was literally bedridden for the last 3 or 4 days. I have a very important Bigfoot love triangle you need to look into. I keep seeing this Bigfoot thing on Twitter. And then it just pops up Nicki Minaj. So I don't know if there's like two things going on with Bigfoot. But every time I saw that, yeah. Yes, and then one thing on gabapentin, yeah, it does. When I took it for the first time the other day, and yeah, I took it early this morning, so hopefully it's kind of wearing off. Yeah, it does kind of make you a little stupid, I guess. So anyway, all right, let's get going. So, if you haven't heard this story, it is a wild story, a very tragic story, but it's still an unsolved one. And so, we'll go over the three guys and then the story, and then I got a video put together as well. So, we're going to deep dive everything. So, here we've got one of the three guys that were found frozen. This is Ricky Allen Johnson. He was 38. He lived in Kansas City, Kansas. Born on September 2nd, 1985. He attended Park Hill South High School and graduated, and then attended Avila University. Sadly, he was a father and had three daughters, Reese, Ryland, and Reagan, which is really tragic. Then one of the other guys, this is David Harrington, and all these guys are friends. This is David Harrington. He was 37. He lived in Northland, residents of Kansas City, Missouri. For anybody that doesn't know, Kansas City is kind of sitting between Missouri and Kansas. He was born on September 24th, 1986, graduated in 2004 at the same high school as his other buddy. David had a wife and was loved by many. Sadly, he was found just like the other guy on January 9th. They went to a party. We'll go over the timeline in just a minute here. Then the third victim, Clayton Paul McGinney, was 36. He lived in Kansas City, Missouri. Born on March 11, 1987. He loved motorcycles, the Kansas City Chiefs, skateboarding. Shout out to him. Love skateboarding and his truck. He also had a fiancée and a daughter, and was also found dead on January 9th. So this is the group of friends. Now, there was a total of 5 people. There was the homeowner, who we'll touch on a little bit later, and then 4 other guys. Now, one of them has not been identified yet. So on January 7th, a group of Kansas City Chief fans got together to watch the last game of the regular season. After that, 3 of those friends never came home. So there was, like I said, 5 people, the homeowner, and 4 others, and 3 of those guys never came back home. The night passed, and the next day, and the day after that, it had been 48 hours. All their families grew anxious. finally, on the night of Tuesday the 9th, a woman called police after making a horrifying discovery. So the fiance of Clayton, she went over to the house. Oh, yeah, here's the story right here. So the three friends were found frozen in their friend's backyard. I think two of them were somewhere in the backyard, and one was laying like on the back porch. Police initially said that there was, and this is quoted, no obvious signs of foul play. We got to keep that in mind. No one has been arrested or charged. They are waiting on medical examiner to release the autopsy and toxicology report to learn more about this mysterious death of the three men. So right now, I saw an update, which was a couple days ago. They said 2 weeks, and that was 3 days ago. So maybe at the end of the, probably next week, I guess I should just say. Most likely next week, we'll get the toxicology report. The parents of David said that the timeline doesn't make sense, and they're not sure when they actually died. The fiancée of one of the men was so worried she came over to the house and tried the doors and gates, but they were locked. She saw that Clayton's phone was pinging close by, and so their cars. I think there was three guys, and I think two of them had their cars out parked outside. But obviously, with the cars parked there, no one answering the door. She's knocking. Everything's locked. She would break into the basement window and go through the house. And I think was screaming and stuff. And we'll listen to more exact details when I play the video. But sadly, she would look out the back porch window and see the bodies, which is just absolutely devastating. Angel's mama says, "Oh, was David was the one that was found on the porch?" I'm gonna write that down. Okay, porch, which is just tragic. So again, there was five guys at this watch party. One who has not been identified. We'll talk about him as well. And the other was the homeowner. Now, the homeowner, his name is Jordan Willis. He is some kind of protein scientist. Now, since this happened, he quickly lawyered up with this John Piscinero. Probably butchered that. Which they released a statement where he claims what happened after the watch party. And so we'll definitely go over that. White Rum, one of my neighbors close by, a local. Good to see you. Chris, there's a neuropathy clinic here in Utah. Yeah, definitely need to get on some insurance, but right now I do have kind of a set exercise program that has been working. Got a ball on my foot, I'm rolling, and then I lay down and I do exercises, a bunch of different stuff. But so far it's been working, so hopefully, and then I'm sure once, winter goes away and then I can start going out and looking for the missing. I really, the best thing is exercise. So this is part of his statement here. Willis, I think this is the beginning. So Willis, the homeowner, so it starts out, has been the target of rumors from internet sleuths, which is going to happen. It always happens. If there's any kind of suspicious stuff, people dig in, and you're going to get all sides of things. So that's nothing new. He was also faced with skepticism from the families of the late men over whether Willis is being totally forthcoming about what happened. 2 days before the bodies were found, McGinney, Harrington, and Johnson went to Willis's to watch the Chiefs defeat the Los Angeles Chargers. The lawyer maintains his client, a 38-year-old protein scientist, went to bed while his friends and a fourth guest lingered in his home, wishing them a good night and getting in bed at the end of the day, whose low temperature was 29 degrees, negative 16 Celsius. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Sarah. That's right. It was a rented home. Thank you, Sarah. That is true. Um, The fourth guest, whose name has not publicly been released, has said McGinney, Harrington, and Johnson were still conscious when he left. So this is the unknown guy, the fourth guest. He says that he saw a different scenario than what Willis claimed. The fourth guest insisted to the local news outlet that he was not the last person to see McGinney, Harrington, and Johnson alive, despite what Willis has suggested. So, whatever the case, temperatures remained below freezing during the next 2 days while Willis worked from home and believed his friends left safely. During that time, Willis did not receive any calls or texts from people looking for his friends, who had not been heard from since going to Willis's home. Which that the family says different. The lawyer's statement said Willis did not immediately see one direct message sent to him on social media about at least one of the disappearances, according to the Kansas City Star newspaper. The statement said Willis failed to notice when a couple of people came over looking for the men. So before the fiancée broke in, between that, some of the family members were even checking in. And anyway, according to the lawyer, the renter, Willis, apparently he was wearing headphones that have the noise canceling stuff and had a loud fan next to him while he was sleeping. The car of the two missing men were parked on his street. Willis did not see them. Even if he had, Willis would have not thought it was unusual for his friends to leave their cars behind overnight. Willis did not realize his friends had died until after the police showed up at his door. McGinney's fiancée had broken into Willis's basement, found the corpse of one of his friends on his back porch, which is absolutely terrible. So this is Jordan Willis here, and then we'll get to chat for a minute, and I got the video, which is going to break down a lot more. So this is Jordan Willis here, the renter of the home. Initially said that he went to bed while the three men were still down. So apparently they watched the game. The original statement, I think, is that they watched the game, and then he said that he went upstairs to go to bed. They were still down in the living room. Then apparently later on he changed his story. And now I think the new story is that he said that he saw the three men leave his home. Then he fell asleep on his couch. And then also claims that he was asleep upstairs more or less for the next 48 hours. I mean, it's kind of weird. It's really weird. The fifth friend, which is the unidentified one, he has a conflicting story. He says, and these guys both have lawyers too as well. A fifth friend, who has not been identified, had also lawyered up, claims that he left all four men and said that Jordan and the other three men were actually watching Jeopardy when he left. So this fifth friend said that Willis and the three others after the game were watching Jeopardy and he left, which conflicts with Willis's story. So get the video out, which is going to dive even more into it. We'll kind of go over your comments, but really weird. Let's see if I can find it here. And yeah, I got a poll going on. If you haven't heard the story, you know, maybe if you want to wait to vote on it, but we got 260 votes. Oh my gosh, we almost have 500 people in here. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Right now, it's kind of split almost even. We've got accidental overdose at 42%, leading the poll. And then at 38%, some kind of foul play. So there's a good percentage of you that think something may have happened, and then 19% not sure. So we'll keep that up. I'm going to go ahead and start this video I put together and then kind of pull up the chat and stop and talk.
Their bodies found in the backyard. Tonight,
I apologize. I put this raining thing on because a lot of clips, if you play from like YouTube or the news, they'll flag you or whatever for copyright, which is stupid because we're actually transforming it, so it should be fair use. But anyway, so I just put this rain thing on. It's not on for very long, but I just kind of switched some different things. But anyway,
we're hearing from the...
Let me know how the volume is, because I don't want to have it too loud. So this would be interesting to know if they're all clothed, because when you have hypothermia, a lot of cases the people will disrobe because their body goes into shock, and then their body tricks himself into thinking that that they're really warm, and so they start derobing. We've seen that a lot in a lot of cases. Bodies go missing, or someone goes missing in the woods. Where it's going to get super cold at night, and then you hear that you find clothing, and then weeks or months later they find the body or the remains, and a lot of times that's due to they unfortunately succumb to the elements. But if they're clothed, it makes me wonder. I'm leaning towards, in my opinion, from just hearing this, I think some kind of accidental overdose. Interesting that the two guys lawyered up, but then I guess obviously it's not gonna. You can't blame them, I guess. But the toxicology is going to be huge. I mean, obviously, I'm sure that's the biggest thing we're waiting for. But so weird. I don't think weed, but alcohol mixed with any kind of like benzos or stuff like that. A lot of actors have sadly passed away with that. Like Heath Ledger, sadly he was drinking and he mixed alcohol with some of the benzos, and it's a really bad combination, and you pass away in your sleep. But it's so weird that all three of those guys were outside, though. So weird.
Says Willis never left Casey.
Because if it was hypothermia, so it seems like they may have passed from some kind of OD or something.
EPD is still investigating this case, and they're waiting on the medical examiner's report.
And they do the drugs, and then three of them are not feeling well. I'm going to go outside, get some air, and then like soon after that they OD. I don't know. And the one guy stayed on the couch, maybe passed out.
Do you believe, as some are speculating, that drugs may have been involved?
I can't say that they're not, but all three men did.
The football watch party was held at a friend's house. He has been identified as Jordan Willis, a research scientist. His lawyer says he fell asleep on the couch after his buddies left and did not realize they were all dead in his backyard until 2 days later.
This guy brags on being a scientist. I mean, all I can think of is what did he concoct?
News Nation's Ashley Banfield is following the mystery.
It's interesting that the mother says that, because they're supposed to be really good friends, like all five of them. But yeah, it's interesting that one of the mothers is saying that. I'm going to play a little bit more, and then we'll read some comments here. So someone said that the coat and their phones were inside the house, which is interesting. I wouldn't say that's suspicious. I mean, but yeah, it does kind of seem like they went outside. A lot of people are saying fentanyl. I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of fentanyl-laced stuff. Now, with weed, fentanyl-laced weed, I've never really heard of that, but a lot of other, combinations, especially with pills.
When it comes right down to it, the toxicology is going to tell us a lot.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. Continuing on with more of today's top stories and headlines. And one of these stories is a very confusing one, one that has people questioning a lot of the details surrounding the investigation, and it has to do with the investigation and the deaths of 3 Chiefs fans who were found dead in their friend's backyard. For the very latest on this investigation, let's bring.
So is it I saw that as well, Fly. I've seen the HIV, and then I've seen the protein. I think I've seen the protein pop up more. But yeah, interesting. Fentanyl is in weed. Oh gosh, man, I've heard of it, but usually, you really hear about it with pills and stuff. Man, that's so terrible.
Bring in Fox's CB Cotton, who joins us live right now. CB, thanks so much for being here. Walk us through what we know.
I guess, yeah, because I haven't smoked weed for, because I was when a teenager, I smoked weed. So it was different days, and obviously it was illegal then. Now it's legal. Well, here in Utah, I know it's still some states that are different, but yeah, I kind of forget because my day was just, we just had the weed, but now you've got all these different, you've got edibles, basically is what I'm trying to say. So they could have had some edibles, which would have been easily they could have put fentanyl in the edibles, but yeah.
No, and what new details have now come to light?
Hi, Lexi. Well,
right.
Calls, text, Facebook messages, they all went unanswered for 2 days, according to loved ones who say they tried to track down Ricky Johnson, David Harrington, and Clayton McGeeney. These 3 friends had all been hanging out with Jordan Willis at his home on the night of January 7th. Willis's attorney says his client saw his friends leave through the front door before going to bed.
That's a great statement. 3 at the exact same time, so one wasn't more alert to notice and get help. Yeah, it's like they all just 3, the switch, boom, they're dead. Yeah, that's a great statement, Deborah. Right. You would think, if there was issue, maybe one was a little more tipsy. If this was, some kind of drug or whatever, one would have kind of noticed, because there was 3. You would think one would be. At least one of them would have been able to react to the situation going on. Although the one guy was found on the porch, maybe he was trying to get back and then collapsed. Man, we got over 800 people in here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, taking the time to watch the show. If you can, please hit that like button. It really helps the show out. We're just going over the timeline, and I've got a 30-minute video we're tapping into, and we'll kind of switch back from the video and your guys' chat.
But get this, Lexi, for the next 2 days, Willis never noticed anything was wrong. I spoke with Willis's attorney, who says these were his buddies, some close friends, and he says that if Willis, his client, had saw them outside, he would have, of course, ran to help. However, this attorney tells me his client slept in most of the day on Monday and didn't leave the house on Tuesday either because he works from home. So the victim's loved ones and a 5th friend, though, a 5th friend who had been inside that home that night, they've all said Willis and his attorney keep changing their story about what actually happened, and they're hoping to find more answers soon with the autopsy and toxicology results, which are still pending. Now, get this, Lexi, Willis has since moved out of the home.
Thank you.
Police have not made any arrest, and Kansas City police officers tell me they don't suspect foul play. This case is tragic, and it has a lot of people really scratching their heads right now.
Yeah, and hearing just those details there too, CB, it has me questioning a lot of the things with this, and I'm sure many viewers who are listening feel the same. So I want to ask you about that 5th friend that was there. Do we know anything more about that individual right now?
So our Kansas City affiliate has done some really great reporting on this story. They followed it very, very closely. The reporter there spoke with that 5th man over the phone, and they also spoke with that 5th man's attorney. He's now lawyered up, I should say. And the attorney.
Oh yeah, we're not. In my opinion, this sounds more like some kind of accidental overdose. But I mean, some people feel like there could be something nefarious going on. But obviously we'll know more when the toxicology goes through. But we're going to hear everybody's opinion. We just asked everybody to be respectful with your opinions, but we know some people are on different sides on this. But yeah, there is some weird things going on, especially with the guy. And we're the further we get into this, we'll learn more about Jordan, the renter. I was previously calling the homeowner, but yeah, like I said, he changes the story up a little bit, which is weird, and yeah, we're going to learn more about that.
Also, echoing similar sentiments from the loved ones of the victims, that the story being shared by Willis out in the public eye is not how he remembers it. This fifth friend said through his attorney that when he left the house that night, he recalled all 4 men, that would be Jordan Willis, Ricky Johnson, David Harrington, and Clayton McGinney. This fifth friend says he recalls all 4 of them being awake, up, watching Jeopardy. So that's the latest detail or clue that we have learned from the attorney of this fifth man.
In the autopsy results, when do you think we can expect to get that back to them?
So Jordan Willis's attorney tells me he's been told about a 2-week time frame period. We have reached out to the company which provides autopsy results, conducts autopsies for Kansas City Police Department, and we're still waiting to hear back. But what we've heard from Jordan Willis's attorney is that he's expecting to get those results in about 2 weeks. And he also says he thinks it's going to shed some light on what may have happened.
Yeah, very curious. So I just want to point this out. This was posted, I think I got this particular video 3 days ago. So she said 2 weeks. Like I said, that's why I'm saying I think we'll probably either at the end of this week or most likely next week sometime. Maybe they'll release it. Maybe they'll get it. And then who knows if they'll sit on it for a minute, depending on, if there is anything nefarious.
Sure, and one last question for you, CB. The friend whose house this all happened at, he is moving out or has moved out, as you said there. Do we know why? I mean, the circumstances surrounding this are already strange enough.
Absolutely, they are. So that friend is Jordan Willis, and his attorney told me yesterday in an interview that his client moved out because of all the scrutiny surrounding the circumstances. He says his client, he did nothing wrong that night. Went on to say that these 3 men were some of his closest friends, and had he known they were in danger, he would have tried to help. But he said he's just been thrust into the public eye because of this case. It's been overwhelming, and so he decided to pack up and leave. And I think there's a lot more to watch with this story. It's, again, a lot of unanswered questions. People want to know more. And it's obviously very tragic for the loved ones involved. We did speak with the loved one of one of the victims, the father of Ricky Johnson, one of the victims. And the father...
Do we know? Listen.
On January 8, friends and family of David Harrington.
Okay, so now this is, we go into Nancy Grace, and she tapped into a lot of different interviews, which is great. She got them all. So I pulled this, and we get a little bit more of the timeline of like when they got there, and apparently when I think they supposedly, the guy goes to bed. Looking at the comments here, left out one. I think we should all be careful with accusations till we know more. Jordan lost his friends and now has this situation all over the internet. Yeah, it's going to be, and sadly it's going to be nasty. That's just sadly the age we live in.
Ricky Johnson and Clayton McGinney are concerned about their friends. The last they knew is they were headed to Jordan Willis' house to watch the game. But now none of the guys, including Jordan Willis, are replying to messages on social media or by phone.
Okay, right there. January 8th, it's cold. They are partying at Jordan's home, Jordan Willis, the homeowner. They're watching the Chiefs. And the next thing you know, 3 are dead, and one claims he's been asleep for days. With me, an all-star panel. But first, I want to go to the woman who has been breaking news about this story from the get-go. It's Jen Smith, and she is joining us from DailyMail.com. Jen, that's where I first found out about this, and it really just hit me in the face. This guy, Jordan Willis, I mean, he's no idiot, isn't he? a scientist. He's a young guy, big Kansas City Chiefs fan, but he's smart. He's really smart. I don't get how he sleeps for how many days while his friends are dead in the backyard.
It was a little odd. I mean, I will say this. I mean, there's some weird things with the story changing and the conflicting story with the other friend. And then they're both lawyered up. Not saying that means he's guilty or anything. Just saying there's some things that just... I mean, it's not every day you hear that, three of your friends are found dead, in the backyard frozen. And they've been sitting there for 2 days. It is a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, very, very fishy to say the least. Jordan Willis, as you rightly point out, is an accomplished scientist, done loads of research into HIV and AIDS, lots of research into COVID-19. Very accomplished guy, no form of record, living in this home in Kansas City, Missouri. He had gone to high school with 2 of the 3 men who were later found dead, was friends with the other for many years. Seemingly a completely normal guy.
So this this renter, he worked on research for HIV. I've seen the protein thing pop up a bit. But says that there's no, he doesn't have a background, and then he went to school with 2 of the 3 men that were sadly passed away. So, would there be, seems like they were, best friends growing up. So it's so weird.
He lived alone in the house. He worked from home. He had his 2 beloved pit bulls there.
There. That's what I wanted to hear, Jen Smith. How many pets does he have?
He has 2 pit bull mixes. They're called Sadie and Daisy. He describes them as
Sadie
the
and
light
Daisy
of
don't
his
have
life.
to TT for what, 72 hours?
Well, on this particular night, Nancy, Daisy and Sadie weren't in the house, according to Jordan Willis. They were at his father's house, which he says is something that is totally routine. He often sends them to his father's house, so they weren't actually there, he claims, when all of this happened.
Okay, James Shelnut joining me, high-profile lawyer, joining us out of Alabama. 27 years, metro major case in a big city. Former SWAT now leads the Shelnut law firm. James Shelnut, let me remind you, defense attorney, there is no father-son privilege attorney-client or priest parishioner. No such thing. Husband-wife, the wife can't blab that the husband did it. So
it reminds me of the Gabby Petito case with the laundries and all that nonsense.
What I'm saying is, if this is true or not true about the dogs being at the dad's house when the 3 friends are found dead in the backyard and on the porch, he's got to testify.
Did he say that?
Absolutely, he's got to testify. And, he can be subpoenaed in front of a grand jury. He doesn't have to talk to investigators when they come to his house, but they can most certainly down the road, if it becomes necessary, subpoena him to a grand jury, and then he will be forced to testify unless he himself were to take the Fifth Amendment.
Now, Shelnut, I never discuss politics because I don't want crime and crime victims to become some kind of political football. True, the dad, I guarantee you, is going to be questioned. But back to the 3 dead bodies. Listen to Sydney Sumner from Crime Online.
On Tuesday, January 9th, 9:51 p.m., Clayton McKinney's fiancée shows up at the house.
9:51 p.m.? I'm going to write that down real quick. 9:51 p.m. So that's January 9th. Okay. Trying to build this timeline. I just didn't get a chance because I was going to put that up. I mean, there's not a lot that we know exactly.
She sees the cars in the driveway, and since nobody is answering the phone or replying to messages, she breaks into the home and screams Willis's name. She has had no communication with her partner for 2 days, and she wants answers. She walks through the house and doesn't find her fiancé. Then she looks on the back porch and sees a body.
Holy moly. So the fiancé has been trying to reach all of these guys. Let me understand, Jen Smith joining us, dailymail.com. Did she just call her fiance, Clayton McGinney, or did she try to reach the homeowner, Jordan Willis?
All of the above. She tried to reach Clayton. She tried to reach Jordan Willis. The other families also tried to reach him. Before the fiance eventually went to the house and she ended up breaking in actually through the basement.
No.
Response when she banged on the door.
No, you're misinterpreting what I'm saying. He was talking about client privilege between the father and the owner that had the home, and they're talking about attorney-client privilege. That's what I was referring to, not this case.
Other families had gone there and banged on the door and tried to get in. They'd sent Jordan Willis Facebook messages. They'd called him, all of which they received silence from. So it wasn't as if this was her first attempt.
So, including calling all the friends, all four of them, including the homeowner. And I'm not calling him the perp or the defendant because he, as of right now, has not been charged with a crime. Okay, let's pick it up with the fiance going through that, breaking in. I mean, she sees the cars out front. She sees that they're all still there, but nobody's answering the door, the phone, messages, nothing. So she breaks in wisely and starts screaming. Let's pick it up, but how did the whole thing start? Okay, let's freeze the screaming fiance in time.
Cop told me dealers bag weed on the same table at the same table that fentanyl is cut on. My daughter got very sick from smoking weed and passed out for 24 hours straight after throwing up and hallucinating. Oh my goodness. I hope she's okay and doing better. That sounds absolutely terrible. It could be that case. Some kind of overdose.
How did this day start off? Listen.
January 7 is a football day for the Kansas City Chiefs as they will be playing the Los Angeles Chargers. So 38-year-old Jordan Willis invites a couple of buddies to come to his house and watch the game. David Harrington, Ricky Johnson, and Clayton McGinney arrive at Willis' house in time for the 3:20.
I mean, what'd be the motive? I mean, if you think about it, what would be the motive? And it would be the dumbest thing because you're just leaving, if it was like, intentional, you'd just be the dumbest criminal because you're just leaving the bodies, on your property. It does kind of sound silly if you were going to, what would be the motive? Unless, I don't know. It does sound silly when it comes to, they've grown up and they know each other. But there's still these conflicting stories, and maybe it could be because Willis was under the influence of something, so his memory is kind of foggy. So he thought, I kind of went to bed, and they were still downstairs in the living room, and then he changed the story to that he saw them leave, and he fell asleep on the couch, but maybe he was, messed up from something that, his memory is kind of foggy. Could be that.
25 p.m. Central Time kickoff. They enjoy the game as the Chiefs beat the Chargers 13-12, and Willis makes plans for them to all get tickets for the next home game.
Okay, what happens then?
After the game, Jordan Willis waves the guys off and crashes on the couch. Willis has known two of the men since they were in high school, and the other is a friend. Willis wakes up later and doesn't see the guys, so he assumes they took off and heads to bed. He leaves the doors unlocked so the guys can come and go as they please.
Okay, right there. Back to you, Jen Smith, joining us from Daily Mail. He leaves the doors unlocked, but when the fiance got there, everything was locked up tight.
That is, that's a little weird. Just some of the weird kind of oddities with this case when it comes to this guy. But yeah, keep in mind he grew up with them. Went to the high school with two of the three guys. Now one saw, Max says motive, they saw something they shouldn't have. I can't say it's not impossible, but man, you would be really stupid to leave the bodies in your backyard. I mean, you would think it clearly had 2 days if it was, nefarious. You would think he would hide the bodies, because now they're preserved, and so if anything, foul play, they're, toxicology, or if he knocked them over the heads, all that, their bodies are being preserved because they're frozen. So they will definitely be able to tell, for the most part, what happened.
Very, very strange. And I want to go back to his story about when he goes to sleep, when they leave. This has changed quite a few times since his research. He's celebrated in the field, given plenty of interviews, a great education, Nancy, a really promising young scientist by all accounts.
Okay, so can we get back to the 3 dead bodies? One on the porch.
Yes.
Let's get back to what happened. Take a listen now to our friend Nicole Parton, Crime Online.
Seeing a body on the back porch still screaming Jordan Willis' name, Clayton McGinney's fiancée calls police. Officers arrive to find Willis in his underwear with an empty glass of wine in hand.
That's a little interesting. Waking up, he comes down and he's got in his boxers with the glass of wine. I will say that's kind of weird, a little odd. Yeah, it could just be a case that they just partied hard, and then maybe, some bad drugs were mixed in. And this guy, maybe he was lucky because he passed out in his bed while his friends, for some reason, went outside. That's the weird thing, though. Like, why were they outside? Unless, I guess, smoking weed or something, or something else.
According to the victims' families, the other 2 bodies were then found in the backyard. Jordan Willis tells police he has no idea what happened.
Okay, Justin Boardman joining me, former detective, West Valley City PD, Special Victims Unit, now with Boardman Training and Consulting. Justin,
Yes,
you're joining us out of Kansas. Was there any snow on that day? That would have been Jan 7?
There was some snow. The reports say that there was like an inch or two, just barely a skiff, if you will.
Okay.
In the backyard.
Let me absorb what you just said, because if there were 3 feet of snow and there was a body under there, maybe I could accept that the homeowner, Jordan Willis, didn't see it. Did you say a skiff?
Correct.
A what?
A skiff. A skiff. So an inch or two of snow. So not enough to cover a body to where you would not see it.
Much less one on the backyard, on the back porch.
Right, especially one on the back porch, and then others out in the yard. When you look at the photographs from some of the articles, it has without the snow, but pictures of the backyard. There isn't any brush back there. It's pretty plain.
Is that true,
at least
Jen
the photos
Smith?
that I saw.
Is Justin Boardman correct? He's joining us from Kansas. What can you tell me?
Yeah, it was pretty. I think the temperature on Jan 7th went to freezing, 32 Fahrenheit, but no indication of huge piles of snow that would have concealed bodies. And, 32 Fahrenheit, if that was going to kill you, you'd have to be out there for a very long time. You'd have to be nutritionally compromised and severely dehydrated as well, I think.
Why would they just be out there for that long? Do we have a COD yet, Jen Smith, cause of death?
No, we don't. And obviously this is going to really put the pieces of the puzzle together. The medical examiner is yet to reveal cause of death, any form of even estimation about what happened. And crucially, we don't have toxicology yet for the 3 men who were found dead. And that could...
So here's the porch. If anybody hasn't seen this one, I'll get another one. So this is kind of the backyard. Looks pretty. I think there's a couple like planter boxes. I'll pull up another one, but just to show you guys, I think obviously this would be the porch here. So maybe a body here, and then the other 2 are somewhere out there. It's a decent sized backyard for that kind of home, and I'll try to get a few more.
Explain a huge amount, but right now no answers. And like you mentioned,
I don't know that it's
no
really
charges.
Explaining anything for me, because even if they had smoked some pot, even if they had some alcohol, that would not induce them to stay out in freezing temperatures and not come back in or get in their car or bang on the door, anything. What more?
Right.
Yeah.
It is weird because, yeah, apparently family members were going over and before the fiance and we're trying to check in on them. So, yeah, maybe this guy was passed out as well. How long for toxicology? So the videos I found were 3 days ago, most of them. They said 2 weeks, so I would think either, if it was a little bit early, maybe at the end of this week, but most likely next week.
Yeah, what more do we know? Listen.
On Monday, January 8th, Jordan Willis claims he did not leave his home at all. He would normally have to take his dogs, Sadie and Daisy, outside to do their business, but they're all staying at his dad's place. Without having to take the dogs out and not leaving the house for any reason, Jordan Willis doesn't realize his buddy's cars are still parked outside his house.
Let me understand something. Jen Smith joining us from dailymail.com, who has been breaking the news on this story. So when the cops get there, he saunters in his boxer shorts holding a glass of wine.
Yeah, he's holding an empty wine glass. Now, the victim's family took this to mean he was still drinking or drinking that morning. He claims it was a leftover empty glass from the night before that he was using for water. But he is, by the looks of things, had just got out of bed in his boxer shorts. When the police arrive, he lets them in and they find the 3 other bodies.
And that's...
To me, I mean, it does kind of sound like he maybe had something what these guys had, but for some reason they were outside and then this guy's passed out for, 2 days or day and a half or whatever, maybe got up and then went back to sleep. I mean, it's tough to say. I'm trying to... Sorry, we've got 1,100 people in here. Thank you guys so much. If you can, please hit that like button. It really helps. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the show. And we're going to definitely keep our eyes on this. I've still got some more video here. I just wanted to get to chat for a little bit. And get that. Haley Shoop, good to see you. Thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. You are so sweet. That helps me out so much. Thank you so much. Hope you're doing well.
It's January 9th, correct?
That's January 9th, yeah.
And the party was January 7th.
Party begins at 9 p.m. on January 7th.
9 p.m.
We know that Willis says that the others left or he went to bed at around 2 a.m. So we have all day on, of course, the remainder of the...
Okay, so 9 p.m. And somewhere around 2 a.m. is when this, apparently, the party diverges. And then we kind of, unfortunately, got conflicting statements.
Night, January 7th and 8th, all day January 8th, the night of January 8th, and then the final discovery is on January 9th in the morning.
Man, I'd be all over this looking for receipts.
It's almost 48 hours.
I'd be looking for a digital record. What about it, J. Michelle Nutt? You are a former cop before you turned defense attorney. I would be all up in his text. Did he order in? Did he do an Instacart? Did he leave? Did he leave the home? You didn't see his friend's car still parked there? I'm just having a hard time believing this.
Well, and I agree 100%. Did he communicate with anybody at all? Number two, when you think about phones nowadays and technology nowadays, a lot of the times you can tell if someone actually reads your text. So even if he didn't proactively contact anyone, is there any indication that he read other people's messages that he received, whether something?
That is so true. If you didn't hear that, he's saying, because, family members were trying to reach out to Jordan. Got all these names here. The renter, the home. I'm just going to say homeowner, so it's just easier, even though he was renting. But yeah. People are sending him messages on his phone and social media, and the guy's saying, they're going to be able to check, did he see those messages, or is he telling the truth, and he just was maybe passed out for those 48 hours or whatever, or, for the most part, and did not read those messages.
Facebook, whether it's on his phone or some other method.
You're right. You're absolutely right about those messages. I was thinking, did he go out for pizza? Did he leave the house? Did he go to an ATM? But we know more now. Listen to Rachel Bonilla and Dave Mack at Crime Online.
As news starts to spread of the three friends freezing to death in the backyard while their friend is asleep inside, the families of the victims begin to speak out and ask questions. The biggest question for Jordan Willis is what happened. Next was why didn't you answer calls, text messages, and social media messages from family and friends of the three men?
The Daily Mail reports Willis insists he spent the next 2 days in his home not thinking anything of the fact that his friends' cars were still outside, and only learned they died when the fiancée of one of the men broke into the house on January 9th in the hopes of finding him.
The changing stories are a problem, and Jen Smith, Daily Mail, do we know, as Shelnut pointed out, whether he was reading those texts and those online messages?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be huge once it's properly probed. He says that he did not see them. We don't know yet. The messages predominantly were on Facebook Messenger, which you can tell whether or not someone has read your message. Now, the families haven't indicated specifically whether or not they got that, read receipt, but you could, for the sake of argument, see that the relatives of, your dead friend were trying to contact you and just simply not open the message. We don't know is the answer to your question, Nancy, whether or not he opened the messages. All we know is he says he didn't see them and only saw them after the police came to his home on January 9th and the bodies were found.
I'm curious.
I'm going to just pause it right there just to catch up on chat for a minute. Email. Oh, I'm seeing my name. Oh, email. Okay, email. Yeah, if you have something, you can email me. I'm going to try to catch up on my emails tonight. Rainy Days, thanks for covering this case. Mob Crew member for 20 months. Thank you so much, Rainy Days, for your amazing support. That's so sweet. Rock Shepherd, hey, I'm back. But those four involved sure look familiar. Why did they all look familiar? Did they look familiar to anyone else? Now, obviously, I live in Utah. I don't know those guys. They don't look familiar to me. But thank you so much, Shepard, for the $5. Play this. I'm just looking at some more chat here.
The fact that Jordan Willis hasn't yet spoken to the media himself. Changing stories could be down to a really ill-equipped or just incompetent attorney, right? All we've heard on Jordan Willis's behalf is coming from his attorney. Now, if Jordan Willis has his story straight and he's letting his lawyer do all the talking and the lawyer is changing the story, it's in his best interest to get out there and set the record straight. But if it is the case that he's been changing his story to his lawyer, who has been, contemporaneous.
Oh, I know what I want to say. I'm sorry to interrupt. So he did get rid of all of his social media, which I don't blame him, because in this situation, some people are going to suspect him. And sadly, in this day and age, they attack the social media, which I hate that, because it just makes, especially when you sleuth in, I hate that because it makes sleuth in look bad. And yeah, so I'm sure, that'd be the smart thing to do, is shut that down, or at least, I don't know, shut it down, but definitely not pay attention to it. But anyway, some may think that's suspicious, but, I wouldn't blame him, if this is all just an innocent or, tragic accident or whatever, people are going to go, the ones that think something nefarious happened, they're going to attack him.
Changing it to the press, that's going to be hugely problematic for him down the line if there's a criminal case.
Guys, he says he slept through the whole thing and had no idea what was going on. But others disagree. Many others disagree. Take a listen to our 14 with Nicole Parton.
John Paserno, an attorney representing Willis, said his client had no idea his friends were dead until police knocked on his door. The New York Post shared a Facebook post from Kaylee Latier, who wrote, "My husband banged on his door for 20 minutes. Latier continued, "My friend banged on his door and then busted a window and yelled and announced her presence. While she's inside and still nothing from him, then the cops come 10 minutes later and he comes out nonchalant in his boxers with an empty wine glass in hand. Nothing is adding up. Dave, Clay, and Ricky need and deserve justice."
Okay, this is what I'm trying to figure out. Jen Smith.
Well, it's kind of a strong statement saying justice, because if it is just an accident, then... But if it is some kind of fentanyl laced, did whoever provided that, did they know? I mean, there's a lot of scenarios in that as well.
Do the relatives and friends of the victims believe Jordan Willis?
No, absolutely not. Under no circumstances. They say that none of this adds up. They need more information. And they are devastated at not only their death, but the lack of information from him, someone who had apparently been friends with them since they were at high school, so would know their families, and from the police. From the get-go, the police said, nothing to see here, no foul play. We're going to carry on our investigation, but we have no reason to believe anyone is in danger, nor do we have any reason to believe Jordan Willis did anything wrong. Making that kind of statement before you have a cause of death, they might have been a bit hasty there, and the families are, rightfully questioning why they are so comfortable stating that there is no foul play when the investigation isn't complete. We don't even have a cause of death yet.
Dr. Kendall Crowns, Chief Medical Examiner, Tarrant County, Fort Worth. If the bodies became frozen, would that affect finding out a COD cause of death?
No, actually, the cooling or the freezing of the bodies will slow down decomposition and actually prevent decomposition, so it will maintain the body itself. So it won't alter cause of death at all. One thing you have to think.
Yeah, so that's good. I mean, for whatever, if there is anything nefarious, they'll find it on the bodies because they're frozen. So that's a good for finding out exactly what happened to these poor guys. It seems like the toxicology is going to be the big thing, because I think with them originally saying that they don't believe there's any foul play, I mean, I think they would have seen the bodies. If there was no trauma to them as far as physical, so maybe they're just sadly out there just frozen. But yeah, it's still strange, and I still see a lot of people kind of back and forth on it, and I understand it's so weird.
With 3 individuals dying suddenly, there has to be a commonality between all 3 of them, and an environmental factor, the fact that they're all healthy. I just can't think that they wouldn't get themselves out of a cold situation. So could it be drugs? Could it be something else? And you also have to throw in there, you have a research scientist, and his 3 friends are all now dead. It's all very odd.
Yes, odd. There's definitely smoke, but is there fire? I believe that you can sleep through something, a crime happening in the next room or right above you. What about...
I skipped this. We got about 10 more minutes. She kind of goes into Idaho 4, so I skipped this next part because she just kind of talks about Idaho 4 for a minute. But then we come back for a little bit more interesting stuff here. I mean, if you think there's something suspicious going on, you could say he's acting like he's waking up, so he's got the boxers and wine glass. I mean, definitely. Let's see. Patricia says the three being outside, they obviously weren't done partying. It's totally possible. Done. I mean, just under the influence of alcohol, even though I didn't drink much. I mean, I probably from my age 21 to 23, I drank, and then I was never big into drinking. But the few years that I did, just to experiment, and yeah, I got a few times where, yeah, kind of done stupid stuff. I'm sure, we all had, when we're younger.
Really, there's got to be a commonality, something in their deaths. It may be like drugs or something, some kind of a drug that OD'd possibly, but, certain types of drugs, like fentanyl, you could tell from the bodies possibly, but if they're frozen, they're going to be just kind of locked in that state. So,
but we don't have any reason to think these guys were using drugs. Shelnut, what do you think?
I'm in total agreement that there's a commonality. When you talk about drugs, you also talk about.
Okay, forget the commonality. All right, that's not really telling me anything. Yes, they probably all were killed the same way.
Well, we've talked a lot about drugs, but
I haven't talked a lot about drugs because nobody said they were using drugs.
Well, we've talked about whether or not something could have been ingested, and the bottom line is it could be drugs, but it could be a poison as well.
Sure.
3 people died in the backyard.
Am I the only one that sees the elephant in the room? A man claims he's totally unaware of search efforts for 3 of his friends. They are there for 3 days, Jan 7, 8, and 9. His story is changing. They're dead. One's on the back porch. Hello, you can see it from inside.
Now, obviously, that's just Nancy being Nancy. She's going to kind of argue both sides. Are their Facebook links still up? I don't know. I usually don't really tap into social media unless it's, I don't know. I rarely do that. But I know as far as like with Jordan, I think he's wiped his all, which I'm sure, just like someone said earlier, if he didn't do it himself, his lawyer probably advised him to do that because it would just be blown up.
Other 2 are out in the garden. And he says he knew nothing. What? That doesn't make sense to me. Jen Smith, could you help me, please? I mean, you want me to believe 3 guys go in the backyard and drop dead?
No, I don't think that's what happened. And I think what maybe we're trying to get at here is both could be, he could have, lied about not knowing anything, and they could have died of some kind of accidental overdose, different type of recreational drug laced with fentanyl, THC, synthetic drugs. Mm-hmm. Is there a scenario in which all of the men are taking drugs, perhaps?
It kind of sounds like that. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. I think that would be one of the likely scenarios. They all took the same thing. For whatever reason, these 3 guys went outside, sadly, to do whatever. And his friend, Jordan, the renter, was inside and then passed out for, 2 days. And sadly, the others passed out outside. But it is weird, though. Like someone said earlier, you would think they wouldn't be at the same level. Like one may not have been as badly if it was some kind of overdose or something, that one would start to show whatever symptoms, pass out or whatever, and at least one of the 3 would have still been kind of semi-conscious to act. So that is weird, but you do have the guy on the porch where the other 2 are supposedly further out in the backyard. So that scenario could have maybe played out, and that poor guy that's on the porch was trying to get help and sadly collapsed down. That's definitely a scenario. Cat's got my tongue. I've only just got here. Forgive me. He had 2 dogs that he would have to feed, walk, and toilet if they were hungry. They wouldn't let him sleep. Yeah, so there's a debate. Apparently, the dogs were at the dad's house, and apparently they say that's a common thing. So, yeah, we don't know 100%, but that's apparently the story, as the dogs weren't there. But then some say the dogs were there. So, yeah, it's a great statement, though.
Applied by Jordan Willis or someone else, in which the three of them end up dying and Jordan Willis panics and doesn't alert anybody. Is that a possibility? We don't know. Now, I want to emphatically state that the police are not saying that that is what happened, but he could have concealed the fact that his friend died of an accidental drug overdose without actually murdering them or doing something, more violent to them, just for the sake of panic and protecting his, science career.
Well, showing up when police are standing there. I mean, have you ever seen the program Cops? Because there'll be a guy sitting in his easy chair in the den throwing back a beer, and cops come running through the house, and he just watches them go by and keeps watching TV like that's normal. I mean, this guy strolls in his underwear with a wine glass. I don't think that's a good look. One thing that is to his defense is that there was no obvious sign of foul play.
True.
On the three bodies. They weren't shot. They weren't bludgeoned dead.
Yep.
There was nothing to indicate they had been murdered. So how do you wake up and your three friends' cars are parked outside your house? Your phones are full of messages and texts looking for your three friends, and they're on your back porch and in your garden, and you don't know. How did that happen? Of course, Jordan Willis, through his lawyer, insists he had nothing to do with this. And in our jurisprudence system, he is always presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah. So, I've got my neighbors outside fixing this car, so they're being loud. It's kind of obnoxious. Hopefully you guys can't hear that. Adam Malone, good to see you. I hope you're doing well, buddy. They look familiar because 99% of men have that same beard and haircut combo. Yeah, they do kind of have. Yeah, I mean, with the beard. I mean, this guy's got a little bit longer. Yeah, but these two guys, yeah. I can't do that. I don't have that, but I feel, absolutely terrible, and I hope the families get the answers they need, because obviously, some had one had 3 daughters, another a wife, so tough, and God, they keep trying to start this car outside. It's driving me nuts. It's all speculation until the tox report come back, in my opinion. Yeah, the toxicology is going to be it, but what a crazy story, though. It's so tragic. Whatever how it plays out, we'll still get to some chat here, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish because I think the poll is pretty much steady. We got 800 votes. That's crazy. So the results are 45% at the top, accidental overdose. So a good portion of you believe it was accidental overdose, with 36% coming in at some kind of foul play. So there's definitely a good percent that thinks something fishy. And then we got about 20% not sure or something else. So I'm going to go ahead and end that there. Excuse me. Okay, I'm glad you can't hear the car. Yeah, they're trying to fix it, and it's driving me nuts. Let's look at the backyard just real quick. And let's see. So that was one picture. And I think I've seen another one. I've seen one more. Oh, yeah, here. Yeah, this is the one I've seen. There we go. So there it is. So yeah, not too big. You got a little planter box. So, I don't know if they say garden. The bodies were in the garden. So maybe the bodies were more over to the right here. And then, Someone said it was David that was on the porch. I haven't seen that actual statement, but so I can't confirm that's David, but somebody told me in chat. But Chris says he was tired after dragging 2 out there. Thought he would move the next one tomorrow. I'm feeling snarky. um, Chris says, do you have the full pic of the back to show all the glass? Oh, I haven't seen that one. I've seen this one and another full glass. So I think, are you talking about pointing towards the house? You would think the one inside would have died if it was carbon monoxide poisoning. Or yeah, oh, so someone was taking carbon monoxide. Yeah, no, I would think, yeah, clearly the guy in the house would have been the guy dead, and those guys, well, yeah, if it was carbon monoxide, yeah, they would all, especially the guy in the house, would have probably for sure passed away if it was like severe. But yeah, so anyway, just to recap, it'll probably, for the answers, it's going to be 2 weeks, and that was 3 days ago when they said that. So what, probably first week, yeah. So that's part of the week. So the first full week of February, I think. Does anyone have the address? Can you put it in chat if you want me to pull it up? I was going to look at that. I just didn't get a chance to. If you know the address, can you put it in the chat? We'll pull it up. You guys want to take a look at that? And again, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch the show. Mr. Love. Oh, I think you're maybe referring to somebody else. On Redfin, there are 51 pictures of inside and outside the house. Interesting. Okay, let me close this. Oh god, that's so annoying. Where is that? Redfin, is that what it's called? Oh yeah, it is. Okay. Do we have the address? Address to a oh, here we go. Okay. Got it. No, that's Florida. 5200 block. 5200 block of Northwest 83rd Terrace. Oh, keeps popping up Florida. Why is it? Was it Missouri or Kansas? Wait, can I put it in? This is a weird site. Why can't I see the one that I punched in? I've never used this site. Am I even in? Where am I? So, okay, I'm in Kansas. Does anyone have the address? Anybody? Here, let me go to Google Earth real quick. Google. Okay, yeah, that's the house. All right, put that on. Okay, so this would have been the backyard over there. Okay, so let me use this real quick. All right, give me a second. Okay, Northbury Road, Northwestbury Road. I want to punch this in. Why doesn't it zoom in? Oh, is this it? Oh, okay, I think this is it. Okay. That doesn't look like it. That one looks like it. Oh. That's it, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, sorry. I'm not gonna try to pretend to use this app. I have not used this site. Anyway, I'll have to look at it. Maybe we'll do a secondary show on it because I don't want to stall too much. Let's see. What time do we start for? Okay. That is it. Yeah, that is it. Yeah, next door right here. I don't know why it's showing this house, though, which is weird. I just don't know how. Like, I've never used this site before, so I don't understand why I can't see the pictures. Overview, property details. Yeah, I don't know. I've never used this site before. Anyway, sorry guys. I dive into it, but if we do another show on it, I mean we will when we get the toxicology, and then I'll play around with this website so I can take a look at the floor plans and stuff. But anyway, guys, let's see here. Let me make sure I got everybody. Thank you to those that donated. I really appreciate it. I've missed a lot of days, so I really thank you guys so much. And just to everybody taking the time to watch the show, I really appreciate it. If you can, if you haven't, please hit that like button. Really helps. And we will definitely keep an eye on the story and do an update. We'll be looking for that report. I'm sure it's going to be huge. And then, of course, we'll have a lot more answers. I just realized I don't have my light on. It's pretty dark. But anyway, to the mods, I'm probably, because I've missed so much because of my neuropathy that I'm trying to heal from, I'm probably going to go live the next 4 days because I've kind of missed a lot of lives. So if you guys can make it, that'd be amazing, or at least a few. So I will be doing a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to end this month. So oh, you can hear it. Yeah, they're fixing a car outside. They've been fixing it for like the last 3 or 4 days. Anyway, guys, I think we're gonna call it there. I used to try to keep it about an hour and a half show. So again, thank you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday, a wonderful evening, afternoon, or morning, depending on where you're at. And we will be back live tomorrow. Not sure what we're going to cover yet. I may do the Idaho 4 case somewhere in the next few days because there has been some things going on. And of course, if something happens with this case, we will go live. With that said, thank you to all the new subscribers. And again, to anybody that donated, thank you so much. And one more thing, my Patreons, I've got something special for the Dylan rounds that I'm doing. I'm going to be working on that right after the show. So hopefully it'll probably be out tomorrow morning for you guys. So, and again, huge shout out to my wonderful mods, Jocelyn Copperhorse, Jennifer D. Not sure if I saw Karen in here today. They do such an amazing job. So thank you guys so much. Cat Got My Tongue, thank you so much for the $2.99. You are so sweet. Every little bit helps. Thank you so much. And we're going to go ahead and do an outro. And we will see you guys mañana.